All right, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Dan the Lost Boy, joined with my co-host today, Adam Martin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Degen Frens.
That's it. Welcome back to the Degen Frens Podcast, powered by Project LB52. This is the show that offers information and conversation based around NFTs, crypto, Web3. So whether you're a creator, a collector, investor, or just a straight Degen, this show has something for you. So join in as we explore the fast-paced world of Web3, DeFi, and NFTs. But before we get things started, quick little disclaimer. This show is meant for entertainment purposes only. None of this is financial advice. It's not intended to be investment advice or information. Seek a licensed professional for all that stuff. You know, Matt and I, and Adam included, are just friends and simply degens with personal opinions, and always DYOR. Do not get wrecked, friends. But without further ado, we have a very special guest here with us today. Welcome, Camol, to Degen Frens. Welcome, Camol.
What's up? Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here. And this is my first podcast. I know we were talking about it the other day. I had to reschedule that one. So you guys are the first.
Let's go. I am super bullish on that. I'm glad we got confirmation. First ever appearance from Camol on a podcast, and it's here with the Degen Frens. So we do have some like segments and some fun stuff we're going to run through, Camol. But real quick, we just kind of want to get a little familiarized with who you are and what you do. So if give us a quick 2-minute style intro of both of those things, who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Camel. A lot of people know me as the Purple Hoodie Antler Seal. I am the head of platform partnerships at Sappy Seals and Pixelverse, and then I'm on the marketing team as well, obviously, because all I do is show skills 24/7. Um, but I'm also our event planner. There's a lot of stuff I do behind the scenes that's really boring. That's beyond making memes. But at the end of the day, I think it all fosters down to community building and really just kind of implementing our team's vision and my vision, because I got a big say in it, into the Web3 world as it's an emerging space. And it's really good to kind of have your hands on it and really mold it to be what you want to be.
I love it, man. And yeah, if you don't know of Camol from your Twitter timeline, you're obviously not on Twitter deep enough, or maybe even at all, because he's everywhere going hard for the seals. And just maybe touch on that little piece of alpha we got in the space the other day, Camol, of what were some of your prior endeavors in Web 2? Like, what were you doing before you jumped into this space?
Oh yeah, so I failed out of marketing school, so that was sick. And then I worked just like, typical boring 9 to 5. It was in contracting with the government. And so yeah, I hated it. And now I'm here. It's really boring up to this point. I also resold sneakers. And fun fact, you guys know Ray Dunn? Do you have Ray Dunn in Canada?
No.
No.
It's like a pottery. Oh, we got to chat 1 second. You guys are gonna love this. So it's like this pottery brand, and it says like shit, like it's like a coffee cup, and it says coffee on it, right? And so they sell it at this store called Marshalls. I don't know if you guys have that.
Yeah.
We
Um,
know of it.
okay, so wait, I can't find a good link. I would resell that. I was in like all these Facebook groups with like middle-aged moms, and then just like me, 24-year-old, be like, "Hey guys, I just got like this rare like orange pumpkin, $100, first come, first sold."
Camel, you are absolutely fucking wild, dude. I know you've been in like a true ninja of Web3 marketing, so I'm really glad that you failed out of traditional marketing, because I don't think you would have been able to do half of what you've done with the level of freedom that you have. Like your mastery of shit posting may be like the reference for what a black belt is in this industry. So I know you absolutely converted me to Sappy Seals, to the Pixelverse, as well as to the Plague NFT, just through your use of spaces and just using comedy as a tool to be an effective marketer. So that's sick, man. What got you into Web3?
So yeah, I was in the sneaker reselling group chat. That's kind of really broad term. They're like some of my closest friends now. But one day one of the guys like sent this like nifty gateway link. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but like it was like popping off, and it's like not even ETH. But he was like, "Yo, I just like sold this picture of flamingos for $1,000." And this guy, he's like the person we always make fun of in the group chat, right? Like the one always doing the dumb shit. And so we were all clowning him, right? And then like a week later, he's like, "Yo, I sold this picture of a cat for like $2,000." I was like, hold on, bro, you got to put me on. And so that's what really put me on into it. And so since we were all sneaker kids, we started like getting into that, and we were like, let's make a cook group, but for NFTs, and it's like reselling tips. And at the time, everything was reselling, like back in 20 when it was really popping off. And then I eventually got into ETH right after the Bored Ape mint, so I missed that. Even though my friend told me to buy it, I hate myself for it. Um, and my first one was a Top Dog Beach Club, and that was pretty cool. And then Chicken Derby, if you guys remember either of those projects.
I actually don't remember those, but that's sick. And this explains a lot of your ape hate online to get the apes to convert to seals.
Cope.
Yeah, it's all cope.
I absolutely love it. And one thing we do share, Camel, is that sneaker reselling. I was a bit of a hype beast myself before I jumped into Web3, and you got that hustler's mentality. So we love to hear it. Thanks for that quick little intro. And we're going to dive into some of our segments. We like to do things a little different where get a quick little intro from the guests and then dive into some fun segments and kind of, you know, we'll all jump through some hoops, have some fun conversation around these segments. And then maybe we'll kind of close up with another little interview with some key questions and see how we do. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Let's go. So if you want, Adam, you want to bring us into our first segment here?
Yeah, I got it, Camel. This is probably our most fun segment, and it's sort of a play on fuck, marry, kill, and instead it's actually shill, chill, or kill. So we're gonna pick 3 projects here, and you got to tell us what you would shill, chill, or kill. So we've got the Bored Ape Yacht Club Other Deed. Okay, and the floor is roughly about 2.8 for that right now. We've got Goblin Town dot what the fuck, and it's about at 568. And we've got the motherfuckers or MFers at 2.74. So of those projects, why don't you tell us what you would shill, chill, or kill?
Okay, I think I'd chill with the MFers, the motherfuckers. I really love that vibe. I think it's like really matches me as like a persona, and I feel like I could easily, get in with that crowd. Really, it's like that. It's the vibe. I've talked about that on other calls before. It's just like that, really kind of laid back, anti Web3, having a good time vibe, like anti culture almost. So I really love that. I'd chill Goblin Town because it's just funny as fuck. Yeah, so funny enough, I got in at like point 0.1, then sold at point 0.5, and then my friend Angel Clark, you're in the group chat, she was like, you should buy back in. And so then I bought back in at point 0.5. I sold it for a loss at point 0.4, and then they were like, buy back in at 1. And I was like, okay. And then I sold at 3. So
dude, wild. That's a crazy ride, man.
yeah, but I'm
good on you for
completely out.
being bold enough to rebuy, because I know a lot of people just take losses and then run away crying. So that's good.
Yeah, now I'm completely out. And then for the kill, the other deeds, I think I have some strong opinions about that. Yeah, let's share them. I think it sucked a lot of liquidity out of the marketplace for something that is speculative at best. And there's no reason it should have costed that much. I think people really overinvested because it was Yuga Labs, and I think if it was a 10,000 piece price, what, 200,000 or 100,000, it would have made a lot more sense. But there's no excusable reason in my head that they should have had that kind of raise at that price in this economy.
Yeah, that's definitely a decent insight there, Camel. I appreciate you sharing your honest opinions on there. Dan, are you ready? What are you gonna chill, and kill?
Let's go. This one's a little tough. I mean, they're all tough. I find these are always fine. A little, resistance trying to categorize things. But I think on this one, I would, and I think I'm biased to what the market's saying right now. This is some of my opinion, some of going off of what the market's saying. I think I would shill Goblin Town on the complete bias or the basis of the hype. It's just so hype right now. I think for good or for worse, there's definitely a lot of FOMO there and a lot of mystery, which could, stir things up. So I'm going to definitely go with shill on Goblin Town. I'm going to chill the MFers. I think, they've got some momentum. I love the open CC0 of the entire project. Sartoshi, an absolute goat in the space. And that, of course, leaves the kill for the other deed. And I think the only reason I'm going there is I'm bullish on the base team, but it's been a little bit quiet I've even been seeing more posting about Goblin Town from the base team than their own project, which I find a little bit jarring, confusing, and questionable. So for that reason, I'm going to put the other deed in the kill section. But that's what's so fun about this little segment is in a week's time, I might be eating my words. I don't know. We'll have to look back on this and find out. But that's kind of my take there on the chill, kill. I'm going to flip it to you, Adam. What do you got on these ones?
Well, I know this is the reason why I'm the only person here with an ape. You guys are both fucked. I'm gonna shill fucking other deeds because we know that mid-July we've got announcements coming up for what's going to happen with the other side and what their actual plans are. Now, I also think that the rollout is going to be lackluster. I think it's going to be a shitty rollout. I think it's going to be a shitty game or a shitty universe, whatever they actually come up with. I am not bullish on the actual product itself, but I do think that there will be a hype cycle. So if there's a big hype cycle there, not financial advice, but I'm going to likely take advantage of that. And I will probably make that my first ever NFT sale. Because I do have a few of them, and I've got one with a coda and some resources on it. So I believe those will pump up pretty big. That's why I'm going to shill that. I'm going to chill on the goblins actually, because just looking at their activity, looking at the actual chart, it looks like perhaps they're ready to kind of stall out. I could see this being one of those projects that just kind of goes away. And I don't think I don't think history is going to remember the goblins. I think it's a cool story. And I also wish I bought in when I first noticed them, because I think I was noticing them around that 0.1, but I literally had no ETH in my wallet while we were at VFriends because I bought a mutant right before. So I just fucking dumped all my ETH right back into Yuga, and that's still really where I bought it at. But and then I would kill the MFers or motherfuckers, because I honestly just don't know a single thing about that project. So perhaps it's just me not knowing, or ignorance is bliss here, but I do think that pump cycle is primed for the other side. So that's why I'm stoked on those guys.
Fair evaluation on all parts. And I like that Camel even gave us a little bit of a spicy take. That's why I love this segment and all of our segments, is it can take you in a few different directions. And again, it might make you look back with a little bit of, oh, did I say that? Which I always find fun. And you got to put people on the spot. So moving right along, Camel, we're going to get into another segment, and it's something we call normie news. So it's basically news that's made its way to, Web 2's front door, and people in the Web 2 normies, as we call them, are actually talking about it and making waves in the regular typical markets. So on this one, I'm going to pull up a screen share here. I've got a thread from the U.S. attorney.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is wild. This is absolutely insane.
Crazy shit. And I'm so grateful that I actually had Camel on a little impromptu seals space I did midweek, or near the end of the week last week. And we actually chatted about this a little bit in there. So I'd love to expand a little bit further. I mean, basically, we don't need to click in. The headline says it all, is that that insider trading case that we saw a little bit ways ago, almost, 8 months, 9 months, maybe even a year ago. When I first got into this space, this was really bubbling. So that former employee, which is Nate Chastain, getting charged with the first ever digital asset insider trading scheme. So I'll pull up the little article here, although I think the headlines and the subject matter we're all familiar with. And I'd love to just get everybody's kind of hot take on A, the situation at hand, what's going on with the charges and things, and then B, how do we think this is going to affect the space? Is this going to set a precedent for, if this continues to be a trend, people are actually getting, ramifications for their actions in the space? Do you think they're going to hold this as kind of the first one and make an example of it? Basically, I'm just opening it up. What's our thoughts? Camel, I want to start with you.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a degree in public policy, so I'm smarter than you guys about this.
I
Um,
love it. I love it.
yeah, but anyways, funny enough, the headline is insider trading, but he didn't get an insider trading charge. He got, what was it, wire fraud? And
Mm.
so, because he was using an alt wallet, but I think it sets a really dangerous precedent, as the whole thing is decentralization, and the U.S. government doesn't view crypto as real money, but yet they are regulating it, or they're trying to, as such. So I think this is going to open the doors, if the charges don't get dropped, for a lot of regulation and legislative overstep from a lot of boomers that don't know the first thing about the space, and it's just going to create a lot of loopholes and issues for people to jump through, and it'll affect everyone, because then everyone's going to have to like KYC to get on MetaMask, or like, hey, you want to play the Pixelverse game, what's your social security number, because the US government wants a piece of the pie. So I think if Nate gets a good lawyer, I think he can easily get off, or he'll take a really easy plea if he doesn't want to go through it. But I don't see the charges sticking.
Yeah, the other charge there. So it looks like there's one count of wire fraud, and there's another count for actual money laundering, which is honestly a fairly serious charge in my opinion. And I think if we see more of those and like big precedents set or a big push towards that, that to me is more interesting than anything here. Like I think there's insider trading on every project, both in Web 2 and in Web 3. And honestly, I'm all for insider trading, but like if people are actually going to get hit with money laundering charges for this stuff, I think it can become pretty dangerous for people playing in that space. Like, I mean, it would at least make you think twice about how you were going to do your money laundering if you're a full degen, right?
Facts. Absolutely fair. Do you got something else there, Camel?
No, I mean, if he laundered money, that's an easy enough charge if they can prove it, because that goes kind of beyond the scope of what he did. Like
Yeah.
if But I think we don't know the ins and outs of that. Like, did he report this on his taxes, XYZ? Is that why they waited until 2022 to charge him? Because they were waiting for a
Mm.
smoking gun. We don't know. But they're going to try to control the narrative that the best they can, so they can, really start regulating this space.
Yeah, honestly, fair. And coming from somewhat of a educated background, I'm definitely just swinging my opinions here. This is all speculative in my mind. Just looking at this, thinking, you know, if I was involved from either side, how might I play it, or what might the defense be if I was Nate myself? But I'm just gonna kill the screen share here and just basically dive a little bit into my thoughts on it. I agree completely with both of you guys, and the one thing I see being a glaring issue or something to highlight here is just the ongoing effect it's going to have on the space. There are a lot of bad actors in this space. We won't name names or get into the nitty gritty, but I think people are catching this headline and maybe, as Adam said, considering maybe not stopping their malicious activity or activity in general, but looking at the routes they've been taking, maybe thinking a little bit harder about how am I going to bulletproof myself from potential things down the road, because this is definitely going to set a precedent and I think has a lot of people shaking in their boots to some degree. I've even seen some tweets from influencers coming out just almost preemptively defending and just like, hey, none of this is financial advice. Hey, all of those things, almost trying to cover things up. So this story is massive and it's been building for quite some time. And it's funny, we actually had Zuwu on the show as one of our first guests, and he is actually the white hat that kind of found all of this through the blockchain and just from sleuthing around. So shout outs to Zuwu. No matter where you fall on this issue, whether you think Nate should be let off scot-free or put behind bars if you're that hurt about it, I think the white hat sentiment still needs to be something highlighted of, whether people are convicted or not, you can get found by just a Joe Schmo like any of us, a degen hanging around on Twitter. So make sure you're not a bad actor out there, folks. I can't tell you what to do, but it's probably in your best interest. That kind of wraps up Normie News. I appreciate all the opinions on that one. And Adam, you want to throw us into our next segment here?
Yeah. So the next thing we've got here to talk about is the Twitter thread breakdown. So it's a deep dive on a topical Twitter thread, and today's topic is going to be macroeconomics and the U.S. government and inflation. So, inflation's definitely a fun topic these days. It depends on where you're reading from and who you're listening to. If you want to start quoting the actual real numbers of inflation, I think it gets scary. I'm personally just in the weeds right now in a book that I just tagged you on, Camel, which is called The Fiat Standard. And for anybody that's read the Bitcoin Standard, this is a book that builds on the back of the Bitcoin Standard and talks about the different consequences of using fiat currency and how that affects our food choices, dietary choices, nutrition, our fuel choices, our macroeconomic choices, and the time preference of the average consumer. And honestly, it's some scary shit. So just looking here at this tweet, Dan, if you can just pull this up.
Yep.
We've got the tweet right here. So I'm just going to read it out for anybody listening. This may be the most important thread I ever make. Big picture stuff about the major global collapse that is coming. I will try to help you understand why the future is not what we're hoping for. It's worse than most can imagine. Our leaders know, but what are they planning? Interesting Twitter thread there. And this really just kind of digs into sort of the budget and how there's some really interesting deficits that are going to like actually crazy record numbers. So if you follow through that thread there, we're looking at like literally trillions of dollars of deficit, and inflation is just going to keep going crazy while the US Fed is on a printing press. You know, the printing press goes burr, and it seems to be an unlimited supply. One of the best analogies I've heard is just really looking at the US dollar as a shit coin, and how you know, there's no cap on the supply. You don't even really know who's creating the supply or when. You know, banks are creating new debt all the time through credit, and yeah, it seems like there's going to be broader macroeconomic considerations here to all the money printing that's been going on. Camel, have you been following this discussion?
So part of the reason I failed out of marketing school was because I failed economics.
That makes
And
sense.
I love it.
That's how you got so sappy, huh?
yeah. Um, yeah, no, I really struggle with this stuff. Yeah, money printer go burr. Yeah, I do really struggle with it. I think there is a lot of, but knowing a lot about politics, I think there is a lot of information that is purposefully hidden, or narratives, or are really shifted. We can talk. I don't want to get into politics. Never mind.
Hey, I
Well, the
appreciate
very
that. I
the
appreciate we
simple
like
premise
politics though.
here, yeah, we don't mind politics, but the simple kind of premise here is that as we create more dollars with an unlimited supply, we essentially debase the value of each individual dollar. And when you have more dollars chasing the same or fewer basket of goods, you really open yourself up to this situation where everything becomes more expensive from an actual dollar perspective. And that's really the basis of what is inflation. And the problem is with that situation is your wages don't actually keep up to the amount of money you're printing, and so your dollar just gets devalued. And what that really does is it removes a lot of the purchasing power from the individual, and it changes their preferences in time, so that the more they hold on to that dollar, the less value it holds. And so they're incentivized to continuously spend that dollar and get rid of it as fast as possible. And I think that is perhaps maybe one of the more interesting white pills that we could look at when we're looking at things like cryptocurrency or NFTs, where we know that we can store and create value here with limited supplies and controls that are just natural. Like Bitcoin's fantastic for that.
Mm,
It's got these natural controls built in.
Yeah.
So
love
it's
that.
don't need an economics degree to understand that more dollars chasing fewer goods is not a good thing for
Yeah.
the average
No,
person.
I wish you were my econ teacher, honestly. I feel like I just learned a whole lot. But it's also interesting because when you're in crypto, you're kind of with it's almost a bet against the US dollar. So, which one do you think is going to outperform the other? Do you think ETH, Bitcoin, whatever it might be, whatever stable coin, Luna, is going to outperform the US dollar? Do you not? I mean, who knows? Like big banks, the government covering up or just controlling the narrative of whatever they want. But what I was kind of getting at before was there was this memo that leaked from Capitol Hill. It was like, hey, certain party, avoid all discussions on gun control and just shift it to inflation because we can win that conversation better. And so I think it will only become a hot button issue when it's convenient for whatever party it might be, because that's what it's all about. It's all about winning elections. It's who can control the narrative. It's like, yeah, it's late stage capitalism at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely agree. And I just want to real quick just shout out to Kim.com for that thread. That's who whipped it up. Very insightful thread. We're obviously not going to read it tweet by tweet, but I'd suggest going in, having a look at it because it is very insightful, does a little bit of mathematical breakdown of things. And I just want to highlight one line that I thought was just savage, where the US is beyond bankrupt. This patient is already dead. This patient is now a zombie. You probably wonder why things are still going. Why didn't everything collapse yet? And I think to Camel's point, it's a narrative. It's being used in different ways, politically, and they're obviously just going to cover up what they don't want you to know. So I thought that line was pretty bold and just it really paints a picture of like we're not even talking about dying. We're talking about pumping like air into dead lungs and like a zombified economical state right now. So again, have a look at this thread by Kim.com. Super insightful. And it's nice to go a little bit Web 2 every once in a while and talk about broader economics because without a doubt, and as much as I hate to admit it, it definitely plays into the crypto realm, again, for better or for worse, like Adam was saying. I think there's going to be some competition there. What's going to outperform which? And it's good to keep your finger on a pulse with global economics, and that's something that Adam and Matt have taught me. This all plays together. They're all kids on the same playground. So if somebody's getting dwomped in the face, we need to know about it. We'll cut the screen share, though.
Yeah, I just think like when I'm not being a degen fuck on Web3, I'm running my Web2 businesses that are real estate based, and I just can't imagine a world where I'm allowed to run at a multi-billion-dollar or even $1 trillion deficit per year. I think that would have my businesses shut down very quickly, and so maybe we'll leave it at that.
Absolutely agree. I think we can all agree there. Even these Web3 companies, I don't think could keep their head above water with that type of a deficit or that type of a balance owing. So with that, we'll move off of the global economics subject and move into our next segment, which is hot takes. We basically propose a little bit of a statement or a question to the group here. We'll go around and get everybody's hot take. And if you want to get spicy, get spicy. This is Degen Frens. We don't give a fuck. Say what you want to say. If you got to say some crazy shit, go for it. But today's hot take is going to be on something that's been very prevalent in the NFT Web3 space the last couple of weeks. So I think it's very fitting that we touch on it. And that subject or question is, what's your opinion on the recent trend of free mint projects with high secondary royalties? Generally, what's your thoughts, Camel? Give it to us straight. Give it to us spicy, cold, whatever you got.
I actually think it's pretty cool because the narrative before that was massive oversubscribed whitelist campaigns. And it's like, hey, you get permission to give us what, like 0.1, 0.2 ETH for our project that we're going to end up rugging, right? And so now it's a free mint, so you have less risk. And so I think if it pumps, great. If it doesn't, you spent what, gas money? And so I think it's a step in the right direction. But at the same time, it's hard for real builders in this space because they need that seed money to really get the project off the ground. But for pump and dump Ponzi-nomics and degen trading, I think it's great. I've made a decent amount of money from it.
I love to hear it. Straight transparency. And I'll save my thoughts for last. Adam, you want to dive in here?
Yeah, I guess when I think about this, like the one thing this is maybe one area that I don't participate as much in. And I think the reason for that is I've never sold an NFT. So I really don't know where my place is in the free mint and then, kind of hope and cope. Cause like more often than not, this is like a free mint, a lot of attention, big pump cycle, then it just dumps. And for me, like most of those projects, if they don't have good, stable creators, are just going to go away. Something I've mentioned before. And this is why I do try to invest in more blue chip stuff. But I also don't, well, I have the time now, but I haven't been committing the level of time to just be on the computer 24 hours a day to hammer out these projects and flip them at the appropriate times. So maybe this is like a strategy that I'm going to take on in the future now that I'm committing much more of my schedule and much more of my attention to this world. So I guess I've just not been around to take advantage of it. So it's never serviced me. But I assume if you could watch the computer all the time, this is a great opportunity to get in on those pump cycles.
For sure. Absolutely agree. And I've been in some chats. Shout out to the Nifty portal. Everybody in there's fam. I've been in some chats where plays are getting called out constantly. So I've had my finger on the pulse of these free mints a little bit closer than I would have. I was in a similar boat to Adam where I just felt like I didn't have the time or didn't want to dedicate the time to seeing all these projects pop. The one thing I'll say about this free mint trend is I think it's very contrasting where on one side, I agree it's a lot better for the space where they're not, massive whitelists that people are staying up weeks on end to try and get on. But at the same time, it gives you this like, oh, it's just a quick gamble. It's just gas fees. And that's actually pumping things. The volume is what people are chasing. So on these icy tools like that, people are seeing big mints on a contract, big volume on secondary, even at very low prices, and everyone flocks over there for literally the day, and then it gets left. And the only thing I see here is as a bit of a problem is potential low effort devs and leadership teams that get massive amounts of secondary royalty that might not necessarily deserve it or even have intentions of what to do with it. So I see these massive kind of pump and dumps, if you will, maybe not intentional or insider or anything. It's just natural because of that sentiment that we're saying is a positive that, oh, it's just gas fees. Like I'll mint a handful and see what happens. And in turn, that actually causes these flocks of degens to go to these different projects. The floor falls apart and then everybody, throws it in their hidden folder and moves on. So I think it's good and bad. It gives you an opportunity to gamble at a lower cost of entry, but at the same time, that gambling is causing somebody to hold a bag and making a lot of money and capital for sometimes undeserving people. And again, not naming names or projects, but just a trend I've been seeing. So overall, I'm kind of in the middle here. I want to see how this plays out. It feels like free mints have been a thing for like a year, but it's literally been like a couple weeks, maybe a week or two. And what started the bull run there was Goblin Town, what the fuck? And now everybody seems to be doing similar plays. So I think we got to give it some time to see how it really works out. If there's, good actors using it in proper ways and actually, funneling that royalty money into something for the community that's going to build out the project instead of get a couple $100,000 or a few M's and hit the ground running. Because that's, let's be frank, that's quite easy to do with some of these projects. So love the takes, guys. I always love hot takes because it can go either way. And I think that's again, a very timely one there with these free mints. And maybe we'll flip to our last segment. Adam, you want to get us into this one?
Yeah, sure. So the very last segment we have here for you guys is not financial advice. Okay, so this is sort of a segment where we talk about projects that we see maybe on the horizon that are at least at the very least interesting and things that we might consider. So I'll actually get us started here. A project that I've been kind of looking at and actually recently bought into and have been using on a daily basis now. It's a license actually to a project called Ninja Alerts. And it's really just a service that is tracking and following a bunch of different big wallets. So there's like some whales in there. There's some project creators. There's some people I'm sure from the community of the person who created this project. And what it does is it just gives you notifications when somebody is minting, buying, or selling NFTs. And I actually think it's a really cool tool if you're somebody like myself who doesn't really, or at least in the past, hasn't been spending a ton of time to track these wallets individually and find them on your own. I couldn't possibly spend the time to find verified wallets of whales in the space. And this is kind of a curated list here of sales and mints and buys that these guys are making. So, for example, the other day I saw Pranksy was, he bought up like 30 of this one little play to earn token, or not token, but a NFT that was play to earn. And I was like, oh, that's kind of fascinating, right? And then that led me to do more research into that project. So I think it's a cool little tool, and perhaps there's others like it, but this is the one that I've bought. And it's actually because I met the guy at VCon and he seemed pretty cool. He was at a Nifty portal party, and I enjoyed the creator himself. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'll buy your thing. And I'm just looking now at my thing. I paid 0.15 for it. And if you guys want to figure out the actual name of that thing, just go to my wallet. You can just on OpenSea, it's just Adam JD Martin, and you can find my whole wallet there. So you see what alpha I'm buying.
Let's go. Ninja alerts. And it sounds like a really good, jumping off point. Like you said, Adam, to start initiating a piqued interest and start doing your own research. I mean, if you're straight degen, you might take these alerts and go straight in and ape in, but obviously recommend using it as a jumping off point to dive into some research. And if you're checking for them, I'm going to bring up the screen share very briefly here just to show you guys the Twitter. If you're looking for them, Ninja Alerts on Twitter. I believe this is them. And check into their stuff. Check their links. Again, DYOR, even if you're going to think about scooping one of these. So I'll shut down that screen share really quick there. And we'll flip to Camol. I know we kind of front run a project that you're looking to highlight or that you're interested in, which is Roo Troop. So you want to give us a little bit of the reasoning behind that as I get this screen share up?
Yeah, so I actually just dropped a link with a really interesting graphic um, in our chat, but I think what they're building, the Web3 native job board, is something that's super interesting and something we haven't really seen in this space. There's a lot of projects that like to hire people or want to hire people in all sorts of roles. Like Adam, you own an ape, so I'm sure your DMs are like, "Yo, do you want to be an advisor? Yo, can you help us market? Blah 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 blah." I get like 100 a day. It's ridiculous, right? But this job board that they're building, little shill, if you own a Sappy Seal, you can get in because I set up a partnership with us. Your guys are welcome. Um,
Let's
but
go.
yeah, but anyways, looking at this graphic, there's all sorts of job listings. Like there's animators, artists, all sorts of devs, event manager, graphic designer. There's shit posters, community manager, anything. Like this space, I was on a call with someone once, and they described Web3 as the Wild West. They also then said you can get shot and die, but we're not gonna talk about that part because it's really true. But there's a lot of land for opportunity too, right? Like anybody, like I fucking make memes for a living. Like it's crazy. And this is a great platform that people can use to get these listings and connect the dots. When projects reach out to me about jobs, I send them there. When people reach out to me about jobs, I send them there. I think it's so amazing. And I give Morgan Stone a lot of shit, but he's actually a really smart and great dude.
I
Man, there's a
love it.
lot of cool roles on there too. Like if you look at active jobs by role, like there's everything here from artist and animator to accountant, lawyer, and writer like copywriter and stuff, auditor, illustrator, devs. There's all sorts of different skills matrix highlighted here in this chart. And I think that's a really interesting thing too, is I think maybe there's a lack of understanding that these Web3 businesses are still businesses, right? You still have all those legs of a traditional business stool that you need. There's marketing, sales, logistics, operations management, accounting, legal. All of these things are going to go into any project. So it's definitely good to see a place where it's aggregated.
Yeah, and just to dive in there, Camel, I know we touched on this in this space, and honestly, like this is Web3. Like this is utility. I think this is the type of stuff we need to see more projects doing. I mean, Sappy Seal's doing some really cool stuff as well, but shout outs to Roo Troop for this job board because this is not just helping holders, although from what I understand, it is a little bit gated in terms of access, but this is still a wide-reaching, broad ad, a solid add to the space. And we need more of that. People adding value instead of trying to suck it out of the space. So I really like what's going on here. I'm just going to flip to the OpenSea page really quick. As you can see, Roo Troop below 0.1. So it seems like a great time to enter. Not financial advice, of course. Never is. But do you got any more insights on why, you chose Roo Troop for a little bit of a highlight here, Camel, before we wrap?
Um, I mean, they're also partners with us, so that's good. I was gonna shill us, but then I thought that was cheesy. We're also throwing an event with them in Llamaverse at NFT NYC, so that's gonna be on the 22nd. We have some pretty big name DJs playing there, so that's gonna be really exciting. And I mean, their community is also really good. I think they've kind of adopted the culture that we've fostered, and so they're in our social circles. We all have the same sense of humor, and I think anyone that's kind of in that circle will do well because we're just so well connected. And I mean, their utility is great. Morgan Stone's not going to let the project die. I trust that guy. And so, yeah, I think it's a banger.
I love it. Two things I want to add. Camel's too humble to say it. One of those crazy DJ acts that's out there is DJ Camel. He will be performing live at NFT NYC Why would you sleep on that? I can't tell you anything more than that. Do your own research on that one. He's going to be playing Pump It Up by Endor on repeat all night. And then the other thing, I'm surprised you didn't pump Sappy Seals. It's like rappers when you ask them, who's your favorite rapper? It's almost always themselves. They're biased to themselves. So, I mean, I almost want to shame you a little for not pumping Seals here, but I appreciate you spreading the wealth to Rue Troop, and I'm sure the guys and the team over there will definitely appreciate it as well. As always, though, folks, it's not financial advice. I got the last one here. I'm just going to bring it up on OpenSea. I'm going a little bit left field here with a music NFT. Oh, I think I got the wrong link.
You got the wrong link, Dan, but while you're finding that link, I'm going to tell everybody right now, if you're listening to this, you're sitting at home, you're in your car, you're in your shower, you're jerking off right now listening to this. If you don't own a Sappy Seals, fucking unfollow. Instantly.
Facts. Not going to make it.
No, you're not going to make it, and you're not going to be pumping my bags, and I need you to be doing that. And also, they're coming up with sick utility. They've got this whole fucking Pixelverse thing that just, it's like Pokemon on drugs. And that's what we need more of is Pokemon on fucking drugs. Not that Pokemon Go shit. We need Pokemon on drugs. And that's the Pixelverse. That's what Sappy Seals gets you. And you better buy one immediately. If I don't see the floor go up 0.1, I'm selling all of them.
Well, you could sell your ape and sweep.
Shut up, Camel.
Yeah, we're going to cut that part out of the show.
Edit.
Hit the edit button. But winding it back over to NFA, not financial advice. I want to take a second to shout out one of my homies in the space. Again, this is a music NFT artist, goes by the name of Famous Dill or Dylan Rhodes in IRL. And I just want to shout out the volume that's going on here. This guy's moving music NFTs. I mean, 34 ETH in some collections or some sectors of the market might not be jaw-dropping, but this guy hustles hard on Twitter Spaces, has a lot of different offerings, and is actually running the first kind of 24/7 radio spaces on Twitter. So I had to kind of shout out my boy here. No financial advice here, but Dill on Twitter, always moving, always grooving, and I think he's going to be one of the front runners in the music NFT space. I'm hot on his tail, though, so watch out, Dill. But I definitely wanted to take the opportunity to highlight his collection here. Again, he's got multiple offerings, a little bit of tokenomics where you can get in at the low level and become part of his community, or you can go all the way up to a deluxe version for a higher ticket price, which gets you more access to him, his community, and all the other things that you'll have to do some research on. But I just wanted to take this opportunity on Not Financial Advice to show Dill a little bit of shine, give him some flowers, and shout him out. Look into the project, look into the guy, because it's definitely worth your while if you're interested in music NFTs. So we'll stop the screen share here, and we will transition into a little bit of just open conversation and maybe touch on a few of the questions we have prepared. But this is a banger, yo. I got to arf a few times because this is such a banger. Arf, arf.
Oh,
Camel
shit.
go back. Camel go back.
Camel, let's hear it, buddy. I want to hear your best right now.
That's alpha.
No, here's something funny. So you guys know that I do that like
Just avoids it.
no, you know how I did that space that had like 500 or so listeners. I think it peaked at like 1,000 like unique, but it was like sitting in silence until I arfed once. I had never arfed before. So I went into our like HQ Discord and I practiced.
Could you imagine what your neighbors thought? You're just like trying it in different tones, like arf? No, arf?
Yeah,
Arf?
what is the best ARF that you arrived at? Like, how much ARF research do you need to do?
You know, I think it like you gotta live your brand. So my
Okay.
brand is just like a boring, like uninterested, like I'm too cool to do it type arf.
Okay.
Just like arf.
ARF.
That's it. We just got it. We just got it. And
Make that the hook.
before we dive into these couple questions we got here, I wanted to put you on the spot a little bit, Camel, because I received a DM prior to this little interview that said
Oh God.
there might be a little bit of alpha that's going to get dropped by Camel in this episode. Do you remember, or do you have any alpha for the Degen Frens audience?
Oh God. I did do that, and then some timelines didn't go as I thought they would. That's troublesome, isn't it? Let me see if I can.
A little
pull
troublesome. And you could even double down. I mean, some people were in the space that I held for the Sappy Seals PAMP last week, so they might, be getting a refresher. But you did drop some pertinent alpha in that space. Unfortunately, it was unrecorded. but you could double down on that if you so see fit.
Oh, dude, I don't even remember that.
I'll leak it. Hey, just
Yeah.
give me the word. I'll
Yeah.
leak it.
Yeah, go for it.
I love it. Sappy Seals are going to be a big presence at NFT NYC. They have an event going on, and Camel told us that the venue was extremely sought after. It's a sick venue, and a blue chip project that was remained unnamed was for 1 week's time trying to unearth the seals out of that venue, trying to flip them and rug them and say, no, this is our venue. So just know, if you're going to be going to NFT NYC, attending the Sappy Seals events, banger venue. You might even get to see DJ Camel. I don't know. But the other piece of alpha is the location of this venue is extremely close to the Bored Ape Yacht Club party that's going down. Ape Fest, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. They're going to be converging. So if you're at the Sappy Seals event, you better be ready to host some Bored Apes, some Mutant Apes, some Kennel Clubs, whatever comes down the pipeline. It's going to be a vibe out there. So that's your piece of alpha. Did I do justice, Camel?
Yeah, except I was wrong on whenever we were on Spaces. I thought Bored Apes were at Terminal 5, but they're at Pier 17. So Terminal 5 is really close to our venue, which is Harbor, New York, which is the biggest and best rooftop club in Manhattan. But it's really close to Terminal 5. I think Moonbirds actually has it. But regardless, Bored Apes fucked up their entry process really badly. And so the apes are going to come to our event anyways because it's going to be better.
That's fucking sick.
That's alpha. Regardless, always fact check alpha, but you just heard it here first on Degen Frens. If you like what you're hearing, smash a like, do some sort of engagement below, subscribe, follow,
like, comment, subscribe.
That's it. Whatever you feel like doing, but that's alpha, and we hope to always be a source of fact checkable alpha on Degen Frens.
Try not to fact check you.
Yeah, always. I mean, I'm just regurgitating things I heard on a space. So, I mean, that's always a good order, is make sure you're fact checking everything. But let's get into a couple of just kind of wrap up questions just to get to know you a little bit better, Camel.
Okay.
And maybe you shoot the first one or first two, Adam, and then I'll take the last.
Wait, before we do that, I kind of felt snubbed in the hot take section.
Ooh.
Okay.
What is everyone's thoughts on mutants being considered real apes?
No.
Yeah, definitely not.
Fucking no. Let me just settle that right now. I don't need to think about it. That's a fucking hard no.
And Adam's choosing violence, but he has every right to, because the guy holds an ape and a mutant. So like if anyone's got, and a kennel. So if anybody's got a right to speak violence and get a little hectic, it's Adam JD Martin here. And Camel, is the reason you brought that up because of Ape Fest last year and the fact that they were granted similar entry, and I believe the same this year? Is that why you're kind of touching on that?
No, I just like hot takes. I
just wants to start a fucking war here. I get it. Yo, I'm a Doc's Diamond Hand. I see you. I'm out of here.
No, I think it's interesting because like they are treated somewhat differently. Like the ape coin allocation, like it was different between and like M1s, M2s. I don't even know what goes into that, but I'm sure we could make an argument there. I'm sure there was shit with Other Deed, and I mean they have separate merch lines. Both of them suck.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we're just working off of numbers, and because I am an economics guy, then there was 5 times the allocation of ApeCoin for a true ape than there was for a mutant ape. So that tells you everything you need to know about Yuga's position on base and maze.
They're 5 times better is what you're saying.
5 minimum.
Yeah, at minimum.
Minimum. Yeah. At worst, they're 5 times better. And that's science.
I love it. Yo, Camel, if you're loving hot takes, we may need to reach out for you to just pencil in our hot takes from now on, just to get the most violent subject
That's what
matter
I live
from you.
for.
And then we'll ride it. We'll just ride it into the sunset and see what our guests have to say about it. Definitely going to be going down. Ghost writing our hot takes. I love it.
Okay, Camel, before we wrap this up, bro, tell us your biggest win in Web3. What's the biggest win?
That's a hard fucking question. Actually, I think some kind of recently. You guys know Goblin Girls?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got linked those when they were like $20 a pop, right?
Whoa.
And so I bought like 6 of them right before I went on a little mini vacation, and then I came home And right before I left, I was like, oh, these are going to zero, go to the hidden folder, come home, and I see a tweet and they're at like 0.7 ETH. So that was a big old win. But I think the biggest was were you guys around in this space during the on one forest bull run?
Nope.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, maybe,
I
but
do remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, no, I sniped some like really rare ones. And I just kept flipping my way up and flipping my way up and flipping my way up and like trading over market on traits. So that just right there was probably like a lot of traits collated into a lot of real money. But then at that same time, I had bought one at the initial that was like top 500 rarity. I think it could have been top 100. I bought for like 1 ETH, sold it for 5. 12 hours later, it sold for 40.
wow.
Damn. And
So
ETH would
that's
have been
crazy.
way higher at that point too. So some
Yeah.
of these licks, like in the past, are even larger licks just based off of the valuation of ETH at the time.
Yeah.
Shout
that
What's
outs,
one.
shout
what's
outs
your
to
biggest
Camel.
loss? What's your biggest
Uh,
loss, Camel?
Dude, there's
Tell us.
too
Tell
fucking
us.
many. Ooh, the really bad one. Well, I sold a mutant for like 7 ETH. 'Cause I bought
Yikes.
it at 4, but then I bought a doodle at 0.9, and then I sold it at 0.8.
Spicy. And what are they at? They're at like 5 today or something, right? They're like,
Wait, they're down to 5?
I'm just
I think
kidding. I
they're
think they're at 20 or something like that.
yeah, they're juicing still.
Floor price is 12.89 as we
Yeah,
speak.
that one hurts. And then I did something similar on Cool Cats. I'm not good at trading.
Yeah.
Really
That's the thing. I think not to take the skill away from anybody in this space, but there is a lot of like making your own luck, being in the right place at the right time, getting the right alpha, and things working out in your favor. And before we dive into the next question, I just gotta highlight my cope is so heavy with those Goblin Girls. I was in a space when they were minting.
Oh god.
And they were like, yo, buy some, buy some. And I'm like, this sounds so like, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good deployment of my ETH. And like you say, like 24 to 48 hours later, you check and it's like 0.7. You're like, oh, that would have been a nice lick. But that's what I live on. I thrive on cope. So
Hey, the degree at which you reserve your degeneracy is the degree at which you will lose in this market. You see the stupidest project, buy it because it's fucking gonna moon.
facts. It's almost facts. You're like, if there's actually something here, I'm apprehensive. If
I'm
it's
scared.
if it's vaporware, let's
Yeah.
fucking go, baby.
I want play to earn games that have no fucking game ever intended to be built.
That's how we gauge winners now.
Yeah.
I
I want a
appreciate-
Pixelverse.
I appreciate you sharing some of the losses and the wins there, Camel. Next question, though, is there any tips or alpha for new creators, collectors, investors looking to get into Web3? Anything you'd give them, to get them started?
Oh, well, that's like 3 different questions in one. So for creators, a lot of people they have this like genius idea, but they know fuck all about marketing. And that's okay because I know fuck all about creating things. But one thing that people like really struggle with, and I tell like everybody this when you're building a project, is every tweet should have a call to action. Like they're not gonna if you just tweet, hey, we're making this project mints this much, it's on this day, you're not going to get any interaction. But if you do like and retweet if you're excited, boom, it's like doubled, tripled instantly. And then if you can like game theorize that with like a whitelist giveaway or an allusion to something else, then you're going to do it even more. But then, what's the next one? Collectors you asked about, like
Yep.
traders. Find someone that's a lot better at making money than you are, and just buy everything they tell you, and then you will make money too.
I love it. Should we consider you as one of those people, Camel?
No, did you hear what I did with doodles and crickets?
I wanted to just make it very clear for everyone.
I'm horrible at trading.
But you're incredible at marketing. So, we all
Yes.
have our strengths and weaknesses. And our last question before we get into some of the wrap up stuff is if you had one key person to recommend for following on Twitter or any socials, who would that person be?
I mean, other than me,
Yes. I would
We
front
all
run
follow
with you.
you. There's nobody left to follow you, Camel. Everybody does.
do you guys know Uncle Joe? You guys familiar?
Yes. Yes.
he's-
Joe Biden?
No.
Sleepy Joe? We're shilling Sleepy Joe here.
Yeah, he's my
I bet
shill
you.
snap
Hey,
seal.
just
Love.
real quick hot take before we fucking talk about Uncle Joe. I bet you Joe Biden made Bitcoin. Fucking that's my hot take
Whoa.
of the day.
Whoa.
Whoa,
I know,
we're getting
big
into
claim.
some spicy takes. He's
Bold
choosing
claim.
violence, folks.
And here's the thing. It's not that Satoshi Nakamoto just fucking left. He just forgot he made it. You know, Sleepy Joe just fucking woke up, forgot he made Bitcoin. Jesus Christ. All right, sorry. Who's Uncle Joe?
You don't know Uncle? You're literally in a group chat with him.
He's walking around sniffing hair. Hey, touching kids.
Oh,
God.
man. Oh, he's getting
shit.
super spicy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're not talking about Biden anymore. I got this.
Yeah, I linked his Twitter. Oh,
Okay,
yeah, he's
okay.
just good guy, hilarious.
Oh, dude, this guy's great. I love this guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Uncle Joe.
Yeah,
He's
Pilk
in
Joe.
he's in our insider trading chat.
Yes, the one where we all lose money.
Constantly.
The best kind. Let's pull up screen share here real quick. And we got to give Unc Joe a little bit of a shout out here. Oh my God, the shame I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, buddy, you just had to do that.
Ding! But let's remedy that real quick. I just hit the follow. You probably should too. Unc Joe getting the cosign from Camol here as a person of interest to follow in the space. So make sure you hit that follow button. And that actually seamlessly leads us into Camol. Where can the people find you online? Where can we follow you?
I mean, if people need to know the answer to that, then it's just sad. Twitter.com/Camol NFT. Yeah. The
Let's
purple
go.
hoodie
I
seal
love
with
it.
antlers.
We got it up on the screen here. And is there anything you want to plug for the Sappy Seals or anything you're doing with any of the projects you're involved with?
Yeah, I mean, definitely fucking come to NFT NYC. I did like so much planning for it to make sure it's going to be a fucking banger. We've learned a lot from other projects in the past, not to shit on the Bored Apes more than I already do, but I don't think they're good at event planning. And so, learn a lot from that. I do have some background in event planning too. And I mean, no one wants to just go to like an event with 20 sweaty dudes. So why not just throw a banger, throw a concert? Everyone's going to have fun. Even if you don't know the artist, you're going to have a good time because it's going to be packed out. It's going to be at a sick club. There's going to be sick music. There's going to be good people. It's just going to be fun.
Oh
That's
my
sick,
God.
man. I'm hoping to make it down there too. I just need to get rid of my house and potentially, illegally cross the fucking border again and hopefully not get fined. But
Let's do it.
but
again,
Good
might
reason.
happen.
Good reason for it, right?
If I do all that, Camel, you are buying the beer.
Okay, bet.
Fact.
Down.
I love it, man. Honestly, thanks for the time today, Camel. We're going to wrap things up. Just, thanks for being here on the Degen Frens podcast yourself. Thanks to our audience for tuning in, tapping in. This is definitely a banger of an episode. Just on the simple fact we got Camel on the show. First podcast ever. I repeat, his first podcast ever on Degen Frens. It's a big thing. So
It is.
we're all going to make it. Well, we might not, but you got to figure that out yourself. We can all make it. And I just want to kind of go through our final call to actions here to make sure you guys know where to find us and everything that we're doing ongoing. This is the Degen Frens NFT podcast powered by Project LB52 Incorporated. We're definitely looking to see you next time. But until then, check us out at www.projectlb52.com, at Degen_Frens, and at Project LB52 for all of the kind of company stuff. Anything in our ecosystem that we're going to be pushing out will come through those conduits there. But Adam, where can we follow you?
I'm at Adam JD Martin on all platforms, including OpenSea. So you can go check me out anywhere you want. Fully doxed everywhere. And you guys can follow my journey if you want to learn more about real estate investing, or if you want to just see what I'm up to in the Web3 space. I also just wanted to, before we close this out, say thank you to Camel for his continued community engagement. Beyond the shit posting, I met Camel just on Twitter sometime, and he's been extraordinarily responsive to DMs and helping me out with various things, and including fucking shoe references, because I honestly I don't know any shoes. So that was sick for him to do that, and I honestly just think it's the type of quality person that Camel is, to just be incredibly engaged with the community and always giving back, even when someone's kind of new to his following. So just want to shout you out for that, Camel, and just respect the grind.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, it's literally my job, and I love it. So, yeah.
That's one thing I'll say on that subject is it's your job, bro, but you wouldn't know it because you make it look so easy, and that comes from that love.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't think of it as work, but it is.
I love it, and you're a front runner for many that are going to come after you, Camol. So keep doing what you're doing, man, because even that job board from Rue Troop, we're going to see more Web3 jobs emerging, and people like you making it look so fun definitely helps get people bullish on that fact. So for that, that kind of wraps things up. One last thing, if you want to keep this conversation going, you want to recommend hot takes or anything for our segments, you want to dive into the conversation a little deeper after the shows are over, dive into our Discord. The links are in all of our bios, preferably mine. Just come to my page, follow me, jump in the link in the bio, and hop into the Discord and let's chat. You can chat with me, Adam, Matt directly, and who knows, maybe Camel will jump in there and you can chat with him. But until next time, make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, whatever it is, so you can keep up to date with us and keep being Degens, my friends. Let's fucking go. Thanks, guys.